So the lesson here today is logic puzzles. So we are using logic to solve puzzles. Another name for logic which we're using is deductive reasoning, which you already are familiar with. So the important information here is that we are using information that's given to us in the form of clues, and then using those clues, those pieces of information, we are solving a puzzle. Okay, so every clue is very, very important, because if you miss any clue, we will not be able to solve the puzzle. Okay, all right. It is really important to use visual tools, right? Because that will help you organize your thoughts, and also that will also help you, your clues will not be lost. Because usually what happens is, when we write things not in an organized way, the pieces of information that are crucial could get lost. So we are using table, we could use a graph or a diagram or any kind of visual tool that can help you. All right, so I'm going to show an example, and in my example I'm going to use a chart or a table, okay, to solve a puzzle. Okay, so my example is a word problem. It's talking about four people, right? They're neighbors, they live next to each other in the same building. Sean, Maria, Sarah, and Brian. All right, and we need to figure out who does what profession. They all have different professions. We don't know who does what, but all we know is they have different professions. And there are four professions that we are focusing on: editor, right? And we have, one of them is a banker, one of them is a chef, and one of them is a dentist. But we don't know who does what. Okay, so from the four clues that they're going to give us, we're going to figure out the puzzle. We're going to solve this puzzle, okay, which is finding the occupation. All right, so it's, as I said, we are going to use some structure to it. We're going to use a table to organize our thoughts. Okay, that's how we're going to do it. So I made, before I make a table, we're going to first of all write down what information is given to us. So the first information that's given to us is that Maria gets home from work after the banker, and she's going home after the banker and before the dentist. So she's kind of between the banker and the dentist, the time wise. Okay, and number two is Sarah, who is the last to get home, right, from work. So we don't know what she's doing, but she is definitely not the editor. So now they gave us one information, which is Sarah is not the editor. Number three is an information that's given to us is the dentist and the Sarah, they leave for work at the same time. So we also know here that Sarah is not a dentist, right? And our last clue is that the banker lives next to Brian, or next door to Brian. So we know that Brian is not a banker, right? So with all these four clues, we need to solve. So I'm making a chart. So we have Sean, Maria, we have Sarah, and then we have Brian. And then I'm going to make four columns: editor, we have a banker. All right. Once we have this chart, so all we have to do is we have to put an X on the box that's kind of cancelled out. And then based on the number that's after the X is the number of clue that was used. So 1 means the first clue, 2 means a 2 clue, or number 2 clue. And based on that, we are going to fill this up, and whatever is unfilled is our answer, right? So Sarah turned out to be a chef, Maria turned out to be an editor, Brian turns out to be a dentist, and Sean is a banker. Okay, so I strongly encourage using visual tools to solve puzzles, right? The logic comes from using the information, and obviously you need to stay organized, you need to make some sort of system. All right? Okay.